I've just written my autobiography, actually, which comes out in August, and going through my life, I didn't realise I'd done so many things. Well, I left school, what was called a secondary modern, I suppose. You didn't make the grammar school, you know. And then I became a professional footballer straight from school, and then rheumatoid arthritis at the age of 21.
21?
Yeah, destroyed my...
You celebrated your 21st birthday at that stage?
That's right. It was quite funny, really. I was playing for Hereford United. I was in a first team, and we won promotion to a higher league. Everything was wonderful. And I'd been in agony all that season with the arthritis, and no one in the club knew. I used to tell them, you know, I'd limp in the morning, you know, training, and they'd say, what's the matter today, Ike? I'd say, oh, well, I've got a bit of a blister, mate, you know, or I've got a bit of a pull, you know, and they thought I was injury prone, Ike, you know, but it was the same thing. And then we had this celebration, 21st birthday, bigger clubs were having a look at me, great. About 3 or 4 weeks later, I woke up, and I remember before I went to bed that night, I looked at my limbs before I got into bed, and the swelling in the knees and the joints had gone down, and I thought, Ike, you've cracked it, mate. This is it. Woke up the next morning, and you know when you're in that kind of half sleep, you're not quite conscious. I realised slowly but surely that I couldn't move any joint. Every single joint had seized, and it was excruciating. And I'd gone to bed a professional footballer, tremendous, just 21, brilliant, and I woke up a has-been, and in fact it's about 3 months ago that I played football again for the first time in 20 years since that moment.
Wow.
And then I went on into journalism, television and so on.
I'll come back to what happened in the intervening period, but Eric, you were also a very precocious young man. I mean, at 17 you turned pro, at 18 British team, 20 you were world champion, and I know this quote comes back to haunt you, but I have to read it again. He said, now I want to live it up to the limit, spend the bread and have plenty of women along the way. Did you do all those things?
Yes, I did all those things, yeah. I enjoyed myself. It's nice to be good at something at a young age. I mean, a lot of people, when they get money and that, they're in their 40s or 50s. And I was very fortunate to have not a lot of money, but I could live how I wanted to live when I was 20, 21 and see the world. And that's what I wanted to do, and I had a bit of fun.
And what about the burden of being a world champion at 20? Was that a burden?
Looking back, it's the sort of burden I could do with again, yeah. I mean, there's no burden in that. I mean, all I ever wanted to be, from when I was at school, 11, 12, I told everybody I wanted to be a dart player, that's it. I wanted to be the best in the world, you know. I didn't play it for the money, I just wanted to be the best in the world at something.
Well, you were world champion at 20, what about your 21st? How was that?
My 21st birthday, I just flew back from America in Cleveland. I played in a 4-man team with Alan Evans, Leighton Rees, and a guy called John Madeley, who you won't know. Another Welsh lad pulled out. I took his place, Leighton phoned me up. I took his place, I went to Cleveland, played in the fours, the pairs and the singles, flew home, got in the house at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on my birthday. Said to me, Mum, give us a call about 8, I'm going to go out with the lads. And I woke up the next morning. She said, I thought I'd leave you. That's it, that was my 21st birthday.
And Francis, you spent your 21st birthday in jail?
Internment at the Curragh, that's right.
I've been there, Mum.
And can you remember what it was like? I mean, did you celebrate it?
No, by then things had got bad. We were first in Maryborough Prison, Portlaoise, and we hadn't been there very long before we burnt the prison down.
You burnt the prison down?
We did.
Yeah.
And we were out all night in the yard, and the military, the prison governor thought we might be trying to escape. How we could possibly escape over, high walls with sentries on top. And they didn't fire on us, but they fired on the walls, and some of the bullets ricocheted. And there was quite a few wounded, one of whom died later, I believe. And how we spent the night was holding up the wounded off, because it was pouring rain, off the wet ground. And I remember passing around gruesome relics like a cap, and inside the cap was what looked like brains. I doubt whether they were brains. I think it was some, grazing. But
still not so nice.
Not so nice, no.
David, you were saying to me earlier that you believe, because the three of you are kind of pretty well close together in birthdays, that you all kind of fit into a pattern. In fact, somebody did a study on April and came up with a whole collection of people who were significant by being born in April. They include Hitler, Cromwell, Lucretia Borgia, and Khrushchev, and you three guys. Do you believe there is a common thread between people born in the same month?
Well, I think that conventional science, which I think is often not scientific at all, has got itself into such a state of confusion in its desperation to hold on to outdated ideas that it can, on the one hand, accept without question that one planet, the moon, can pull in and out whole oceans, the tides. And yet while it accepts that, without question, it laughs at the very suggestion that planets as a whole affect people. And what I would say is this, and not just me, but increasing numbers of people, millions around the world. Everything generates energy. You're generating energy to me, I'm generating energy to you. Planets generate energy. So at the moment we are born, in the atmosphere around us are the energies generated by the planetary situation at that time, which gives us a certain, what you might call, energy pattern. Now, through our lives, that energy pattern is constantly interreacting with the moving planets. Therefore, someone born at 6:15 in the evening on April the 29th, like I was, will react differently to the same planetary movements than someone born, say, 2 months later, because their energy pattern will be different to mine. Yeah. So the idea that everyone reacts the same, like the tabloid astrology columns, I would say is ridiculous. But the fact that planets do affect us, and affect us constantly depending on when we were born, I would say is an absolute fact. And I think scientists with open minds are close to proving that, and I think before the decade is out, we will see that that's the case.
Well, now, Eric, in an anti-intellectual kind of profession like a darts thrower, do those kind of great questions ever occur to you when you're standing up there looking for a final double tops?
No, it don't matter when you was born, does it? When you got rid of double top. But I mean, we was chatting in the hotel this afternoon about this for a couple of hours, and it's quite interesting.
It's quite odd, though, isn't it, that Francis is a writer, David is a writer, he's a commentator, he's taken time to think about things, and yet you probably make more dash. You drive around a flash mark, and you have a better lifestyle than people who spend a lot of time thinking. Is there a lesson in there?
I mean, you're just lucky. I mean, in sport, I mean, if you're good at something you love doing and you get paid well for it, you're just a lucky person, really, that's all.
Yeah.
I mean,
you did have a dose of the yips at one stage, didn't you?
That's right, I'm just getting out of it now. It's near enough completely gone. It took a lot of time to get rid of it, and I can't explain it.
You don't know how it came upon you.
Langer got it with the putter, didn't he?
I remember he did, he cured it.
Yeah.
Cured it twice, yeah.
That's right.
And what happens? You just can't throw straight.
You bring it back and then you go to throw it and it won't go. Frightens the life out of you. So then I took up trout fishing then, because I thought that's giving it that. And I tried loads of different things just to use my arm. Bit of golf swing and things like that. Most people, when they get it, they don't play again.
You got married just a couple of years ago.
That's right.
Do you reckon, has that had any effect on calming you down? Yeah.
Straight out, yes. But no, I mean, I am what I am anyway. But I've got a nice little daughter now, so I'm
You're more tranquil,
yeah.
Now,
Right.
Francis, you've been married 3 times in your life. You got married to Issel McBride when you were just about 18. You got married to Gertrude, and you got married again just about 6 years ago to a woman who's less than half your age. Was this final marriage? Yeah. Did you go into it with the same kind of sexual intensity as you did to your first and your second marriage?
Now, I didn't go into my first marriage with Iseult gone. No, she either. Neither of us wished to get married. We had eloped to London and lived there, and in those days...
You couldn't live with somebody?
Well, her mother, Maud Gunn, thought it was a scandal and that we should get married, and neither of us wished to get married. We weren't really suited, and yet the marriage lasted. It lasted extremely happily for about 10 years, and only finally broke up at the outbreak of the war, when many things broke up.
But you had a strange...
But if I could come back for a moment, now I know little or nothing about darts, but what interested me is I've seen dart players, I haven't actually seen you, and they're sort of swaying before the dart is actually dispatched. And the hindquarters. Now, I know something about racehorses. I know quite a lot about racehorses.
You wrote a book about racehorses.
Yes. And the racehorse, the young racehorse, when it's led out the paddock, you watch the hindquarters. That's very important, you see. the lovely rounded,
So
and the way a certain conformation of the hindquarters means it can get its hind legs far, when it's galloping, far under.
he's paying great attention to you,
Under the belly. And when you are
throw
throwing your dart, you see, everything is in this movement of the
your hindquarters.
of the hindquarters.
So that's what it is then.
Now listen, can I bring you back to your period when you did become a prophet and
Yeah.
you prophesied a whole lot of things like Cuba was going to sink and they didn't happen. Were you disappointed in yourself when those things didn't happen?
No, I mean, the great problem is we're talking about issues here that are so, and events here that are so different to the norm
Okay.
that we'd have to talk for hours. That's why I write the books. All I can say to you is that I would have changed nothing, because the more extreme the experience, the quicker the understanding.
Yeah. Was it anxiety? I mean, were you going through a form of a nervous breakdown?
No, nothing like that. It was a time of switching levels of understanding, and that period has given me a greater understanding of the way life is and who we are and what we're doing here than ever any other kind of ordinary situation would have done.
And are you back now from being like the tabloids were calling you the son of God? You're no longer as high as that, are you? You're much more rational and level-headed.
Well, I mean, what's rational?
True.
What's rational?
What is
The rational economic system of the world says we must take more from the earth, turn it into more things, consume more things, throw away more things every year, and the quicker we do that, the more successful we are economically. In other words, the quicker we destroy the world. That is rational thinking. It's rational thinking, as I said earlier, to believe that while the moon can bring in whole oceans, planets don't affect people. It's a nonsense. So what is rational?
France is like...
I would say that what the idea of rational is going to take on a whole new meaning in the next 10 years, and the whole view of life, who we are, and what we're doing here and what's happening is going to change fundamentally.
Well, I was asking Francis about how he felt about the human species. And Francis, in the 1970s, the Abbey commissioned a play from you, and they never put it on because you were trying to say that modern Ireland has betrayed Ireland. And has all modern life betrayed people?
Oh yes, it was a play about Terence
McSweeney.
It was the 50th anniversary of his death in Brixton Prison on hunger strike, and they asked me to do it, and I was glad to do it. I had read his Principles of Freedom, and I didn't invent anything. I mean, I didn't put any words in his mouth. I took words from his book, and he was very well played. The stage was divided. He was in a cot in his prison cell, and contemporary Ireland with politicians and bishops and so on were on the other side.
You were saying that modern Ireland had betrayed McSweeney and the ideals. So do you kind of take your clues from the past, whereas David is saying we've got to take our future more seriously? Are you constantly looking over your shoulder for an ideal model?
No, I'm never. It's no good for me to look over my shoulder, because if I did, what I would see would be even more depressing than
what's ahead of you.
Yeah.
Sorry, David. Yeah.
So I'll tell you one thing that...
I have a little cake
thanks.
here. We'll bring that. We won't blow it out just yet.
I'll tell you one thing
Lovely.
that I have learned very clearly is what people give out to the world is just a manifestation of what they think of themselves. People who don't respect others, who ridicule others, who do all these things, are actually have no respect for themselves. Some of the most outwardly aggressive people I've ever met are people who hated themselves, and the outward aggression was just a manifestation of what they think of themselves. And I think the main problem with the world is that humanity, individually and collectively, doesn't like itself, and it's constantly sending out to the world its own view of itself.
So, Eric, would you be part then of bringing a bit of comfort to people who are getting no comfort from anywhere else by being a good darts champion and representing your country? The Crafty Cockney, incidentally, you picked that up in America rather than in England.
That's right, yeah, Santa Monica. There was a bar in America.
I know the bar, yeah.
Oh, you've been there, have you?
I have,
Oh,
yeah.
It's not there anymore. It's a car park.
Yeah.
But that was just all the dart bars in America you get shirts for. and then I wore it on
But
TV.
do you feel that on behalf of a whole lot of people, basically you're taking away a bit of pain by being a good sportsman?
I think any entertainment. I mean, darts is just an entertainment as well. I mean, it's nice to go to the clubs and put an exhibition on. Everybody comes out and enjoys themselves. Takes their mind off of everyday worries, really, doesn't it?
And Francis, in your writings, are you trying all the time to ameliorate the kind of pain for people? Are you trying to intercede? Are you trying to explain to people that they're not alone, in other words?
Well, only in the sense that the people, there are a few isolated, lonely people full of pain. I don't really, I have them in mind perhaps when I write. They're scattered all over the world. I mean, they're not, and they're very few. I don't have a great readership. Yes, I do think of those people.
Do you? Good. So you connect. And David, basically you're trying to do the same thing. You're trying to connect with like-minded people. Oh, incidentally, I will have these for you. They're called The Day That You Were Born. For instance, Eric means brave. Did you know that?
Means what?
It means brave, yeah.
That's fair enough.
And I told you Francis means free. And it also says that your Chinese year, you're courageous and candid and sensitive. You are the tiger. Well, I'll keep that for you. And David, your Chinese year, you're the dragon. You're very passionate. Are you very passionate? How do you live now? You're married now.
Yeah, I'm very passionate about getting through the suppression of information that has plagued this world for so long. And
It really is a mission with you, though, isn't it?
Very, very much so. It's not a religious mission. I'm actually fundamentally challenging religion. I think religion is one of the great curses of the world, frankly, and certainly a curse on the pursuit of knowledge.
But how does this affect your family life and how you relate to your kids and whatever?
We have the most what you might call normal family life. I mean, my son's a great footballer. He's 11. My daughter's a dental nurse. I mean, we have a very normal family life. Normal that you would accept as normal.
They don't go to church.
No, they certainly don't go to church. No, and that's their decision.
But do you still have to live past this image that you had when you were 39? You're now 41.
Absolutely essential to what I'm doing. You see, what I'm saying about the mind and the brain not being the same thing, and that consciousness, the mind, being eternal for everyone, and not just those who believe some mumbo-jumbo peddled by the church, and the fact that consciousness, eternal life is for everyone, and the lights don't go out at the end of a physical life as conventional science would have us believe. Getting that information, which has been said by many people through this century and before, out into the main public arena. To do that, it was necessary to create a platform from which that could be done. And we are really going through a period now where conventional science and religion are really going to collapse, and a whole new way of thinking and seeing ourselves and seeing the world is going to emerge, and it's going to
don't worry about
create
that
a world
which
is going to be free of many of the ills that plague us today.
Well, Francis, you have...
Is there much money to be made out of darts?
There's a lot of money to be made out of that.
Great.
Francis, you have lived a long time, almost a full century. Are you scared of dying? Do you believe, as David does, that your mind goes on into another body?
No.
Fair enough.
You see, naturally, loved ones, dearly loved ones of mine have died. My last wife. And speaking of my last wife, may I just interrupt the program, not the program, just to send greetings to my present wife, Finola.
Finola.
Who rang me today and from Clare. She hadn't a telephone, and she was in the call box, and the whole thing was messed up.
I see. So you wanted to do that. Well, I was actually being very nosy earlier on, because when I asked you when you married Finola, was there a sexual electricity between you, even though at that stage you were way into your 80s?
There was, of course, there was something...
We've got things to look forward to.
We've got things to look forward to. I'm looking for reassurance here, for instance.
There was some
Well, haven't you got her with you, anyway?
What?
You should have her with you. What's she doing? Give her a message on the telly. Get back here.
She's painting down in Clare, you see her.
That's amazing.
So you'd like to have her with you for your birthday?
Oh, I would. And maybe I will. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not. She loves Clare, and she's a lovely house. They're looking out on Galway Bay. From the opposite side to Galway City, you know.
Well, she may hop up tomorrow and be there for your birthday. You never know. Eric, who would you have at your birthday party? Who would you like to have there?
Who would I have there?
Yeah.
What for? Any guest I could have?
Yeah, any guest you could have.
We should have asked me that earlier on. I could have got an answer really for you. I don't know.
Just family and... Where would you have it if you could have an ideal party?
I'd have a friend that I buried 2 weeks ago. That's who I'd have.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's a nice sentiment. That's a little gift for you. It's to help you overcome the yips. It's a little golf ball that you exercise and squeeze. Yeah. This is for you, Francis. I know that you've always looked for one of these. You've always wanted one, and it's a meat grinder. I'm told that you have a passion.
I haven't got it. I have people looking out for second-hand ones.
You got a new one there?
He has a passion for the French delicacy.
Steak tartare.
Steak tartare. So he wanted a meat grinder. And David,
I'm a vegetarian. I'm glad you didn't give me that.
this is for you.
You're a vegetarian?
I hope it's out. It's a piece of pure turquoise, which was the
thank
colour.
you very much.
Yeah, turquoise has a special property.
How
Has as a
original.
colour.
Everything does.
You're
Everything.
stuck with this turquoise bit, aren't you?
Hey? Did turquoise have? Why did you pick turquoise as your?
Well, I mean, colours do affect people because colours. But it depends on the person.
I'm looking at your stone here. According to this, is crystal, but
Is it?
turquoise was the one that
Well,
came up for you.
Anything that whole period, as I said earlier, it was absolutely vital to creating
platform,
a notoriety, which is allowing me to do what I'm doing now.
Well, now, as
And,
notorious as you are, who would you have at your ideal birthday party?
who would I have?
Me, hey.
I reckon I'd like the Leicester City football team
The Leicester City football team.
with the
Wow.
First Division Championship. That would do me.
Yeah.
I started watching Leicester City Football Club when Gordon Banks played back in the 60s, and they've not won anything since, so that would be nice.
And Francis, apart from